All right, we're back in the spirit of the Most High after that snack break to go ahead and get back into the scripture. Where I was at, Ezekiel 37, and continuing on with the topic there, 37, and I believe I was in verse 25. Because this is the main scripture that really breaks down what will happen to the children of Israel. When we say that they're not done away with, and we can prove it through this scripture, which is prophetic and hasn't happened yet, this is how we can prove it. All things are proven, through the scriptures, as Isaiah says, line upon line. Okay? And of course, we challenge the Jehovah's Witnesses to explain this, if it isn't saying what it is saying, basically. That the children of Israel will be gathered again, brought back to their land, and dwell there to time indefinite with the Christ as their king, which are the days that we look forward to as a nation, as a people, under the grace of Yeshua. Okay? And so we're going to continue on, verse 25, and they will actually dwell upon the land that I gave to my servant, to Jacob, in which your forefathers dwelt, and they will actually dwell upon it, they and their sons and their sons' sons, to time indefinite. And David, my chieftain, will be their chieftain. Or excuse me, David, my servant, will be their chieftain, to time indefinite. Now, what you all say in explanation of this Bible passage is that, and I actually got this came directly from y'all's information. I actually have an old CD-ROM, an old Watchtower Bible Tract Society CD-ROM, and it says that this passage is not talking, this passage has not happened yet with the children of Israel, nor will it ever happen, period, right? Like, not period, like they said it, but there's a period at the end of that. And then it says, so this must be talking about spiritual Israel. I'm going to prove to you in the next 60 seconds why it is not talking about spiritual Israel according to the prophecy. And I had a New World Translation, I showed you already. But this is what I'm reading from, so don't think that I'm, but we're going to get it. So, how do we know it's not talking about the anointed, as y'all say? First of all, the anointed, according to Revelations, and according to what y'all teach, 144,000, y'all say will be in heaven. According to your own teachings, they will be in heaven, ruling over the earth with Christ. They're not going to be on the earth. And if they're going to be in heaven, they're not going to have children. They're going to be dwelling in the heavens. Now, with that said, verse 25 says, they will dwell upon the land that I gave to my servant, to Jacob, in which your forefathers dwelt. Comma. But we can think of it as a period. Now, common sense there is telling us, not just common sense, but it's speaking about the land of Israel. Because it's saying where your forefathers dwelt. Their forefathers ain't dwell in heaven. And the land that he says is the one that he gave to Jacob. So it's very specific, letting you know. This is talking about Israel. And they will actually dwell there with their sons and their sons' sons to time indefinite. So this is talking about a physical place where there's going to be growth and population increase. This is not speaking about heaven. Okay? And David, my servant, will be their chieftain to time indefinite. Also helping you to understand, because it's saying David will be their king to time indefinite, that this event hadn't happened when they came back from Assyria and from Babylonian captivity, because this was long before the birth of this David, which is the Christ. Therefore, this could not have happened at that time period. So with just verse 25, you can totally debunk, or I would say that to any Bible student, you basically have proven that that doctrine, with what I said as far as y'all explanation as a religion, of this passage is incorrect according to what the passage itself says, in harmony with what you teach. Okay, I'm going to put it out there and say it just like this. The children of Israel, yes, there will be 144,000 that will reign in the kingdom. Okay? However, that's not the only Israel that the Most High going to deal with. There also are other Israelites who will be gathered and brought to this land. And the funny thing about it is that you guys read the Bible and you're reading really about one people, one group of people, until the formation of the church, about Paul's time period. Other than that, it's primarily one family of people in the earth. It's a history book of a specific family. And to come to a conclusion that you know for certainty that the same people that God held by the hand, he has now rejected and will never again graft them in, just common sense would tell you, I hate to put it like that, like y'all don't have common sense, because I'm sure a lot of y'all do. I know there's a lot of very intelligent Jehovah's Witnesses. But it just, in my heart, I know that that's wrong. And it's backed up by Scripture. So I challenge any one of you all, to explain to me, how can you back up the teaching that this is speaking about an anointed group of people that will be in heaven? It is unexplainable, which is one of the reasons why I decided to use this scripture above all other scriptures in the Bible that point to the restoration of the children of Israel. Another one of those is going to be Isaiah the 11th chapter. Okay? And we'll go ahead and do that one as well. Let's get that. But I like to use Ezekiel, but we're going to go ahead and go to Isaiah 11 as well. There's many scriptures, but we're gonna just cover a few for the sake of time. Okay? Now, Isaiah the 11th chapter. This is one of those scriptures that y'all use quite often in the ministry with reference to paradise and what the conditions will be like. 11 talks about the beginning of the, as it calls here, a twig out of the stump of Jesse, speaking about the Christ, okay, son of David. And it says in verse 6, the wolf will reside for a while with the lamb. A mere boy will be a leader over all of them, letting us know in paradise that it's going to be harmony between the animals and humans, as it was in the days of Adam. So yes, we do preach what y'all call paradise, a time period on the earth where it will be complete harmony between the animals, Mother Nature, and the human beings. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a beautiful time period, no doubt. But the funny thing is that everything here is talking about post-Christ, right? And then verse 10 goes down to say, it must occur in that day that there will be the root of Jesse that will be standing up as a signal to the peoples. To him even the nations will turn inquiringly, and his resting place must become glorious. And it must occur in that day that the Most High will again offer his hand a second time to require the remnant of his people who will remain over from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros, from Cush, from Elam, and from Shinar, from Hamath, and the islands of the sea. Okay? And check this out. I realized this today. The Lord says he's going to set his hand a second time to recover the remnant of his people who will remain over from Assyria. Now, and I think that goes over a lot of people's heads. When was the first time that he recovered the remnant of his people that were in Assyria? That's when they escaped captivity, right? That was the first time. He's saying that he's going to set his hand a second time to gather the remnant of his people that be left in these places. Okay, so that's kind of cluing you in that this is speaking about a futuristic event, because nothing here in this 11th chapter of Isaiah is speaking pre-Christ. There's no pre-Christ events being spoken about. Okay, and how do we also know that? When you get to verse 12, which is this is the verse that no man can answer according to your doctrine. He will certainly raise up a signal for the nations and gather the dispersed ones of Israel and the scattered ones of Judah. He will collect together from the four extremities or corners of the earth. Now, Judah, when they were gathered, after from their Babylonian captivity, came from two places. Majority of them came from Babylon, obviously, and a lot of them came from Egypt. That's not four corners of the earth. This scripture is saying that he's going to collect them from the four corners of the earth. And he says that they're scattered or dispersed. Those words are interchangeable. The dispersion did not take place until 70, where Christ foretold, and this is, I'm so glad, man, Christ foretold, and this is something that y'all don't teach, man. I've been to many meetings and I never heard this scripture ever spoken of. Here's my question to you all.